In a world of podcasts, one rises in the night to destroy them all. The elder god in an ocean of noise, the Cthulhu of the airwaves. This is Spoiler Country.
Alright everybody, welcome again to another episode of Spoiler Country. Today on the show, I got my buddy Matt Summo here, and you've seen him before on the show during our Leanna Kangas interview. He was a lot of help, and he's a fun guy to have around. Right now, we're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about a book he's doing with his buddy Pete Collins. Guys, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Yeah, not bad.
I'm good. So today is a little different. I thought I'd be home recording this interview. Instead, I'm sitting outside my daughter's ballet studio, and because ballet's got to happen, man, COVID or not, apparently. And so we're doing that, and you guys are home, and this book is going to be popping off very soon. So let's talk about it. The Bardic Verses.
Yeah, man. We're about a week out.
Holy smokes.
Just over a week out, from the Kickstarter. It goes live on 9/8. The Bardic Verses is an 80-page graphic novel about a bard just trying to escape the shadow of family legacy. He's the son of a famous warrior. He kind of shirks that to be a musician / storyteller, and we just kind of follow him on the quest that he goes on and sort of dealing with, again, like his inability to swing a sword and get into combat, and how he deals with these situations that he gets put into. The thing I like about the book is it's kind of anthology style. You know, it starts with him in a bar. He's playing a set list. The set list is all the different stories in the book. All the stories are drawn in different art styles, and they're like homages. So we start with we have a Jack Kirby homage. We have like a Frank Miller / noir comic homage, and we have some other ones peppered in there as well. So it's been kind of interesting and cool to see Pete draw these different styles. And yeah, that's it for us.
Yeah, I remember you showed me a few of the early pages, and you were kind of explaining the concept to me. I was like, holy crap, this guy is versatile. It was a jaw-dropper moment. And so a lot of you guys, I don't know if we got into it when you were on the show last time, but you're a comic writer. You've done this before. You have experience with this. You were on the, what was it, Eisner Award winning or nominated?
It was a Ringo, and then we were nominated.
Ringo, oh, yes.
Yeah.
Ringo nominated Deadbeats comic, which was fan-frickin-tastic. And it was one of my favorite comics in that anthology, by the way. It was just such a fun idea. And you've been hammering away, doing all this cool stuff, and then you run into this guy at work, of all places. Tell me how that happened.
You want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. So I kept having people come over to me like, hey, there's this guy, Matt. He's kind of new. You should talk to him. He's written comic books. You guys might have something in common there. And, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then likewise, at the same time, he was seeing little, doodles or drawings that I would do in the middle of boring ass meetings and, hand off to people. And he's like, hey, somebody's an artist. Who is this? And it all just kind of fell on our company holiday party. So, we bumped into each other there. That's where we connected. We started talking, and that was that, man. So
that's wild.
Yeah.
It seems like way easier than normal to find a working partner, and you guys seem to have hit it off right away.
Yeah.
Who came up with the initial concept for this? Because it's very unique. And was it a hard sell to the other guy?
Honestly, I think it was just us spitballing, right? We were sending messages back and forth, we wanted to work on something. Got me involved in this project. He asked if I wanted to do a pinup for an anthology he was in. That was Kayfabe Volume 2, 3, 2. I never remember. 2. It's 2.
No, it's 3.
It's 3. Okay. And so, and I did that, and kind of, the bug bit me when I saw it in print, and Matt and I just started spitballing ideas. There's a lot of, chatter in between there, about this, that, and the other thing. But, slowly but surely, we kind of came up with this idea organically. It wasn't a pitch to one or the other.
That's awesome. What is your experience with comics outside of this book, outside of this project?
I have no experience outside of this project.
Oh, for real? For real?
Yeah, this is
crazy.
This is my first project, man.
And you obviously have some nerd bona fides just looking behind you, so you're into it. What are you inspired by?
Ooh, that's a deep question, man. I'm inspired by a lot of stuff. I've been reading comics since I was in middle school. I had some grandparents who owned a hobby shop, and that kind of hooked me. I play video games pretty rapidly. There's a slew of different movies. I like sci-fi as a genre, but I also did my tour in the realm of Dungeons and Dragons. So I played that for about 10 years, so as we started kind of like coming up with our idea, it was like, I started like harkening back to those days where I was playing D&D, and that kind of fueled some of the art a little bit for me. But yeah, man, I'm all over the place with it. And I have 3 kids, so it's like, as I keep telling them all the time, it's like, you don't know how lucky you have it. When I was your age, I would have killed for a Spider-Man movie. I would have killed for an Avengers movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
At this point in your life, you have 10 different Batman films at least. I had 0. Well, the one with Adam West, I guess. Until the Michael Keaton one came around. So it's like, it wasn't a thing to be proud of necessarily to be a nerd back in the day, right? Like it was. So you're lucky you get to wear that on your sleeve and show the world that that you're a fan, and so that's kind of inspiring too.
Awesome, Matt. Like, what are your comic inspirations? Because you're a versatile writer. As much as I talked about Pete being a versatile artist, you've done so many different styles of writing for comics. What really just kind of knocks your socks off?
So I'm big into dialogue. Brian Michael Bendis with his run on Ultimate Spider-Man really opened up that world to me, where I was like, oh, I want to write characters the way he writes characters, because they sound like real people. But so Bendis's run on Ultimate Spider-Man, anything that Brian K. Vaughan, even Saga, the weird stuff, down to Why the Last Man, he's another one who's really good at making characters sound realistic. Like they don't sound like your standard comic book characters. They sound like real people. Yeah, and just people like that. Jeff Johns, for a time when his run on Teen Titans was really good. But yeah, I'm really tuned into good dialogue. I like anything that has good dialogue in it, and I kind of strive for that in my books, because again, it just makes it that much more the visuals are cool. Of course, you always want to show off your artist, but I want to give people something that they're going to read back and go, oh, that was a fun conversation they had. What a cool way to make your character sound, or what a funny thing to have them say or do dialogue wise. So I think that's really important.
Awesome. So I've really been impressed with what I've seen of the book. I don't know that we've really gotten too deep into it in this interview as to what the reader can expect. Can you give us kind of a breakdown of that? Give us the elevator pitch, and then tell us about the campaign.
Sure. So the elevator pitch for the book, again, is just a bard, playing a set list in a bar about the different adventures that he's gone on. And then basically all the stories could stand on their own, but they do kind of connect, because it's one long journey that brings him. You'll find out why he's at that bar. He's there for a specific reason. We find out why during the course of the stories. So again, it's just a collection of stories that he tells the audience, all done in a different art style. And yeah, and then it's one long story in 66 pages of art. And then
oh my gosh.
There's some back matter, some really fun back matter in the book. We got some pinups in there from some awesome artists that I'm excited to talk about down the road. And we have some character sheets if people want to use the characters in their tabletop RPG games. That'll be back there. We have a map that we drew up that's really fun.
Oh, cool.
Easter eggs. Yeah. So just you know what? I'm really into a book that just has that much extra value. Like, yeah, everyone loves like a book that, you know, is just filled with comics, but like we wanted to add stuff like fun, cool things to have in the back as well. There's some process stuff. There's some other like doodles that Pete has done that we haven't really shared around. That'll be in there. Just again, like just extra content to bulk the book up.
You are creeping into Philip Kennedy Johnson territory there with all the back matter and stuff. Oh my gosh, he was telling me about the Last Gods.
That's a DC book he did, right?
Yes, and it was just the concept and like all the back matter that he had for it. I was immediately like, I am too stupid to even think about starting something like that. Just like as a writer, I'm like, I make the big guy hit the other guy. That is like, oh my gosh. So hats off to people that are also doing that, because that is amazing to me. I love stuff like that. What were your fantasy inspirations? Because it seems to have like, you know, the Bard and all that. There's the D&D inspiration, I bet. But were you kind of really into like the, I don't know, Lord of the Rings or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like Conan was kind of an inspiration.
Cool.
Conan,
some Robert E. Howard.
Yeah, a little Robert E. Howard. I will say one of the biggest inspirations for the book in general, it was the Witcher Netflix show, because they have a Bard character that I just like loved, because he's like this goofball like that bothers Geralt. Like anytime he shows up, he's just bothering him, and I kind of, our character isn't as annoying, but our character is as charismatic as that Bard character. And yeah, I think I was just like obsessed with fantasy visuals. Like any, like I played the Witcher game, Witcher 3. I'm trying to think, there was something else that was like a huge inspiration. I mean, you'll see in the book, you were going to do like a piece on Frazetta. We're going to do like a whole section of Frazetta.
Oh, wow.
Frazetta illustrated.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of glad we didn't.
Yeah, me too.
Good way
if there's a volume 2, we might save it for that. But Frazetta was definitely, we were looking at Frazetta stuff for a while there. But yeah, I mean, just like anything, and like Pete said, like he was big into D&D, so he was really like my style. I've never played D&D before, surprisingly. So I was basically just asking him a ton of questions, like, you know, what things can we work with? I was doing a lot of research on D&D, trying to make like, you know, references to creatures and things like that. But yeah, fun stuff like that.
A few weeks ago, I was doing some research for something, and I was pulling up a bunch of Frazetta pictures, and my wife was like, saw me kind of going through it on my computer. She's like, "What the fuck are you looking at?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm pulling up art references." And she went, "Well, he had a type." Yeah, that stuff, when I was a kid, like seeing like your first Frazetta painting, is just like, holy crap, this is amazing. Yeah, that stuff rocks. So this campaign, do you have stretch goals? Do you have anything like that set out? Or is it all just like, let's just get the book done? It's 60 pages. What else do you want? Jesus Christ, just let us get this book done.
Pete, you want to take this?
Yeah,
this is something we've been talking about for a while.
Yeah, so like we decided to put all the cards on the table, right? Like we do not have stretch. We had kicked around so many different ideas as far as like, you know, what do you want to give different backers, at different tier levels, and it's like it all boiled down to like we want the book in people's hands. So we have six reward tiers, and that's counting our retailer bundle. And it just came down to like, you know what? We'll take some stickers, we'll put them in there. We'll take a bookmark, we'll just put it in there. We're not going to make that like little tchotchke things that, you know, you can get after the fact. We're not going to do add-ons. We wanted to keep it humble and simple. And even keeping it humble, you know, the math, Kickstarter math is weird math. It's not fun, you know, and this really being Matt's first solo Kickstarter and, you know, my first really anything, it just made sense to just keep it simple.
Oh yeah. All that stuff can add up and just be a massive headache.
Oh yeah.
So do not blame me one bit. What's your basement level price on the book?
Well, digital and physical are both $20. The only difference being, of course, is with physical you're paying for shipping.
Yeah.
In addition to that, the physical comes with the digital version. Also, everything comes with a bookmark, a couple of stickers, a signed which will be signed by myself, Matt, and our letterer, the fantastic Matt Krotzer, and everything's going to be boarded and shrink wrapped before it's packed. So it's going to be a nice, tight, safe package. We have a few other tiers too, where like our digital tier is also going to include some of Matt's greatest hits, or as I call it, Matt Summo Sings the Blues, Volume 1. And we have some art tiers also. We have a traditional art tier, which will include a 5x7, inked original piece of art. The book itself is done digitally, so I'm going to be doing these in addition to seeing through the rest of the book. Another tier is a digital TTRPG character commission. So
cool.
So if you play D&D, Shadowrun, Pathfinder, whatever, if you back us with that tier, I will provide you with a high resolution 8.5x11 size version of your character as rendered as best as possible. We have an offshoot of that as our last tier and our more expensive one, and that is the same thing, the same commission, but we'll have it printed in a high quality canvas that's 11x17. And
cool. Yeah. Holy smokes, that's rad. It's a lot of bang for your buck in that book. With a $20 starting point, that is rad, especially given that it's 20 pages or 60 pages. So any plans for continuing the story later on, or is this like a one and done?
I mean, so here's the thing. We've been talking about what a volume 2 would look like. Obviously, it hinges on the success of the campaign. So if this does well and we get funded, then there are definitely plans for a volume 2. So we've talked about it, and it's something that once all the dust settles from the Kickstarter, again, provided it does well, which I think we're pretty confident it will, we'll definitely start production on a volume 2.
There may or may not already be scribbles on cocktail napkins.
Nice. The Bardic Verses. Second part. So, man, this is exciting. Can I talk a little bit about creative process and stuff like that?
That's my favorite process.
60 pages is a massive undertaking for anything. Right now, Pete, I'm sure you're drowning in pages that you have to do. Matt, you have to come up with a shit. You have to figure it out and make everything work. Matt, when do you do your writing? And how do you do your writing?
Great question. It's whenever I have free time. So it's lunch breaks during the week, after work during the week, late nights during the week, and then over the weekend it was, from sun up to sunset basically.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just whenever I could squeeze it in. The cool thing about this book, we started it a little over a year ago. At this point, we started it right before COVID hit, and it was just kind of there was no timeline. It was super loose. It was just work on it when we could. I would work on the script in chunks because, again, we had the luxury of it being a series of stories. It wasn't just one long story. I mean, again, we had to tie in a lot of stuff, but I was just working on it in chunks. I would be like, all right, here's this one section. Here you go, and then I'd go on to the next one, and so on and so forth. The beauty of the relationship that I have with Pete is that it's super collaborative. I would send him pages, and he would go, hey, what if we did this instead of this? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm like, whatever, if you think it works better that way, I don't mind. And if I need to rewrite dialogue based on that, that's no problem. I have no issue writing my dialogue around it. If you want to blow out a page, which we've done a couple of times, to make it better, to make it flow better, cool. I'll fill it in from there. You're muted.
Sorry, Pete. When do you do your work, man? You have 3 kids.
I have 3 kids and a full-time job, and it's crazy, dude. But something I'm sure you can relate. Your current surroundings, especially, is
exactly.
I can tell you, I have one son who used to be in band, so I would literally sit there for 4 hours of band practice in the parking lot with my tablet, drawing in my car. So it's what the same kind of thing as Matt said. It's whenever I can. It's a lot of late night drawing for sure. Usually, I'm making a cup of coffee around like 7:30 at night. One, because I love the taste, and two, because I need it. And I'll draw until 11:30, 12:30 at night. Sometimes I'll slip away like during the work hour, get a 15-minute break in here or there, or I'll bring my tablet to, I'm using air quotes here, take notes during a meeting. It's whenever I can. Honestly, it is a hard balance at times, but it's worked so far. We've got physically out of I don't remember the final number. I think, what was it? It was like 62 pages total, Matt?
I think it was 66.
66, yeah. So like I've already fully finished out, 58 pages. So we're.
You reminded me of something. I snuck off in the middle of the day to interview Dan Jurgens at my work. And so I had to sneak off into the attic. And in the middle of the interview, it was an old dusty attic. Nobody's ever up there, but it was the quietest place in my building. Dan Jurgens only had so much time during the day to fit us in. And I inhaled what seemed like all of the dust in the attic. And I think I died a little bit. Dan Jurgens was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Hold on." But yeah, it was awful. But yeah, you got to find that time, man.
Yeah. No one's gonna find it for you, right? Life will always be there to try to get in the way, right? So you gotta hunker down and do the work.
What refuels you? Because you can't always be putting out. Some people can. I can't. I have to have something to kind of rekindle that creative spirit. Is there anything that makes you guys want to create?
Great question. Like if I've hit like a brick wall, right? If I'm drawing and it's just like, I'm at, it's been a long day, I'm starting to feel it. I will literally push myself until I can't physically see straight or draw at all. And then that's the first thing I look at when, I pick my tablet back up is, okay, where did I leave off? Oh God, I left off there. Oh, and then I'll just readjust. It's, I find that music helps a lot. I prefer metal over all other genres, so that's typically what I'm listening to. I try to avoid finger foods, so it's while I'm drawing. So it's a lot of shakes and ice cream and that sort of stuff. Like really, just anything that I can ingest quick and easy without getting grease on my fingers.
Awesome. What about you?
So I play a lot of video games. Like Pete said, I listen to a ton of music. I'm probably listening to music maybe 8 hours a day because I work from home. I don't have to necessarily talk to people on the phone. I maybe here and there, but when I'm not talking to somebody on the phone, my earpods are in, I'm listening to music. I feel like music, like where people will like outline books, they'll like take notes and do stuff like that. I workshop all my stuff in my head while I'm listening to music. So I'll write a page in my head and then go, all right, I'm going to like get this down on paper later on in the day and do it that way. But yeah, it's mostly music, video games. I'll read here and there, watch movies when I can, when I'm not working.
Awesome. So what music, what band have you been listening to mostly lately? Any one band? Better yet, what has fueled, what would be the soundtrack for you guys for this book? I'm curious.
Well, it is funny that you mentioned that. I'm going to put together a playlist, which I'll send out to
people. Oh, nice.
Part of the Kickstarter, so I don't want to tip my hand too much there. But I will say one of the artists I've been listening to a lot lately
Michael McDonald.
Yeah.
I knew it.
You nailed a lot of Yamo be there. That's him, right? Michael McDonald, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, there's an artist called Destroyer. It's like a synthwave.
I like them. They're good.
He uses like a lot of horror movie samples in his music. I really like. But yeah, and then this playlist that we're going to put together that you'll see.
I think he has a song called like Tinseltown or something. It's really good.
I think so.
Yeah. When I first heard of that band, I was upset it wasn't a metal band because it was such a badass metal name. And it's like this kind of twee indie rock guy. I'm like, come on. But yeah, I dig it. It's good stuff. What about you, Pete?
I'd say over the last like few months, it's been a mixture of Slipknot and Avatar, probably.
Okay.
Little Royal Blood trickled in there, little Deftones trickled in there.
Oh, I love the Deftones.
Oh yeah, I've seen them live twice. They're sonically superior. I love them.
Oh yeah. I saw them with some band that sucked, and I cannot think of their name right now. They had a song called Voodoo, and it was
Godsmack.
Yeah.
I saw them with Godsmack also. That had to have been like 2000
early 2000s. Yeah,
like
it was right when they first started covering Weezer, and I was like, "Holy shit, are they covering Say It Ain't So?" It was great. Such a good time.
Yeah, the first time I saw them, it was a much smaller show, and I couldn't hear straight for 4 days. That's how I knew it was a really good show. But that said, I don't think the music is great for like helping me stay motivated for sure. There's not a lot of there's no Slipknot influence in the art. There's no Avatar influence in the art. But to me, it's like that heavy metal keeps me focused. It sounds a little weird. I could never explain it to my parents, I guess, but it always kept me focused. Something about the beat or the riff or the screaming. I don't know, but.
Well, it's like a constant drive. It's
It's just pure momentum.
Yeah. Unless you're into Doom, like I am, and then you're just kind of like, just gonna sit back here and relax for about 15 hours. Yeah, man, I'm really excited about this book. I'm super stoked. When is it coming out again? Can you give me the date of when it drops?
Yeah, it's September 8th, which is a Wednesday, of course, for New Comic Book Day. And then it's going until the 11th of October, which is the day after New York Comic Con. If they still
awesome. Yeah. That's, I guess it's still up in the air right now. Even now, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You guys, I can't wait to get this book in my dumb, fat, sweaty hands. I'm super stoked for this. Matt has been showing me like tidbits and telling me a little bit here and there about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is genius. The fact that y'all met each other at work is mind-blowing because it just, the way you guys have kind of put it together, it looks like you had a long working relationship together in comics already is really impressive. I can't wait to see the whole thing, and I can't wait to see what else you guys have in store.
We can't wait for you to see it, man.
So real quick, website. What's the website?
So there's two. The most important one would be tbvkickstarter.com, which is the Bardic Verses. That's the initials TBV. Kickstarter.com. That'll take you right to the campaign where you can sign up to get notified right now. And then once the campaign goes live, that'll take you right to the campaign so you can pledge. The other website is just bardicverses.com, which it's just there. It's, that has a link to the Kickstarter, but it's just there to let you know about the book and tell you about Pete, myself, and our other collaborators that we work with, Nick and Carlos and Kratzer, and maybe some other people that may or may not make it on there. And that's it. And just the socials. I'm at Mattman Begins everywhere on the
That's
socials.
The best name ever.
Yeah.
And Pete, where can we find you, man?
Well, right now in my son's room as we're doing this call, but I'm on all social media as PAC Illustration.
Nice. Hey, if it makes you feel any better, I did an interview one time and I wasn't planning on doing video, but they insisted on video. And at the time we were kind of moving some rooms around, and I was doing the interview in my daughter's bedroom, which is lavender colored. It's really nice. And I noticed behind me, I couldn't move my camera around enough to position myself to where all of her beauty pageant trophies would be out of the way. So there was like all these tiaras and sashes and trophies behind me as I'm interviewing like some comic person. I forget who, but yeah, it was nice. They knew I was beautiful at least. So
You definitely are.
Thank you. I'm just waiting for you to say it. You guys, thanks again for chatting with me about this. Can't wait to read the book. You guys, the Bardic Verses, TBV Kickstarter.com. You guys want to say anything on the way out?
No, I would just want to say, just take care, watch out for the Kickstarter, and wash your hands.
Wash your damn hands, please, and like do something. Like cover it up, stay home, something. Man, I'm in the South where everybody's covered with the blood of Jesus. They don't believe in that stuff. So yeah, it's getting real sketchy out here. So nobody, I'll get off my soapbox. But yeah, take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. Peace out. Matt, love you, buddy. Y'all be good.
Love you, dude.
Take it easy.
All right, see ya.
Thanks, dude.
Spaghetti! And we're back.
That's right. We are back. Back in the saddle again. Well, I hope you guys really, really enjoyed that as much as we did making it for you. And if you like what you heard and you want to hear more, you got to go check out spoilerverse.com, because at spoilerverse.com, we have a plethora amazing directors and artists of all walks of life, and editors and writers, and oh my God, are you a lover of comic books like we are? Then there's so many amazing people from the comic book world over at spoilerverse.com, and I highly implore you to go there and check it out.
Yeah, and while you're there, you can check out all the other podcasts on our network, like Bridging the Geekdoms and Funny Book Forensics and Haphazard Adventures and Nerds from the Crypt and so many more.
Misery
We put out
Point
episodes
Radio.
all the time. Go check all of them out, and check out all of the reviews and previews and articles we have going up every single day for you, every day on spoilerverse.com for you to check out and to read and to love and to like and to comment. We have a store link. If you want to help support the site, you can do it two ways. One, go to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/spoilercountry, or go to our store link in the middle of the site there and get a t-shirt, a face mask, a hoodie, something, look fly as hell, and help support the site when you do that, because we get $1 or $2. And, maybe you want to talk to us. If you do, you can do it obviously on all the socials, but if you go to scpod.us/Discord, you can join our public Discord server and come chat with us all day long.
I couldn't say it better myself, dude.
There you go.
You just mouthed out a ton of information at once, and really, I hope you guys enjoy what you're hearing, because we're working our butts off to bring it to you.
We are.
I guess there's only one left thing. One left thing? Yeah, I'm going to go with it. There's only one left thing left to do.
What's that?
In an oceans of podcasts,
We are Cthulhu.
as Cthulhu compels you to
Spaghetti! Open the mind.
and read more.
Spaghetti!